Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about some esoteric music theory. Today we're talking about the three note of a diatonic scale. So imagine a C major scale, imagine the E note. Today we're talking about that note and its particular context, its particular function within the diatonic scale. So I'm going to go over some of my notes I've personally taken with you and some of the information I have gleaned of this. The 3 is the masculine third of the key because it's a major third, masculine. Yet its diatonic chord within the key is the feminine minor. This is a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. And you can see this duality within the 3 note. How as a note, it's the masculine third. As a chord, it's the feminine minor. This note is of King David and his harp, singing the psalms of the Lord and walking with him, as it is said in the Bible. The third of the tonic triad, this note represents the Son, if the 1 note of the key be the Father, and the 5th note of the key be the so-called Spirit. The 3rd is shown to represent the Son because of its melodic quality. That Son be incarnate, that he experienced the intensity of that seeming cloud of life and overcome it, so to speak, and thereby redeem the world. If not, tonality, which is what we were talking about. This note of the key is often more relevant than even its own diatonic triad solely for its melodic implications. In relation to, we all know the half step, E to F, and it's also just more relevant in that, being the tonic's third, it defines the key's positive polarity. That's why we call it a major scale. But melodically, this half step we talk about, the E to the F or the F to the E, it signifies that intensity of the incarnate Christ, for example, and the abruptness of that incarnation, and that it may be a rung itself up Jacob's so-called ladder. And that again, melodically, it resolves or voice leads over dominant cadences, yet it slips just as easily from the tonic into dominant passages, going melodically from 3 to 4, 4 to 3. And you could ascend Jacob's ladder and you could fall right off it. And that's exactly what it is. When you see the 3 to 4 in the voice leading. And this 3rd is like Adam. This 3rd is like Abel, like King David, I had said. And yes, again, the incarnate Christ. The positive masculine polarity that is embraced by the feminine. See how this keeps coming up. As the 3 is a diatonically minor chord, this is feminine. And let's look at it. Adam had Eve. Abel was very successful with women, just as David, if you want to say that. And Christ, his own femininity. Think of Christ's own feminine love, in that Christ's power was in weakness. Think about that. This is all to precede largely any theoretical analysis. I've been speaking kind of metaphorically, biblically, esoterically, whatever you want to say. And it's to speak in these terms because the 3rd, in its inherent romanticism, clearly warrants this. The 3 minor chord, its own minor third, is the 5th of the key. Its own 5th. The 5th of the 3 minor chord is the major 7 of the key. Or of this chord, the 3 minor chord, its own 7th is the major 2nd of the key. So have those relationships in mind when you think about the three minor chord, what it's made up of. And therefore, in a sense, if you look at this, the three minor chord, it's half tonic, half dominant. That's why this chord is known as the mediant. You know, it's a triad composed of parts of other triads, because let's take E minor, for example. E minor is the end of the tonic triad with E and G, obviously. And it's also the start of the dominant triad G and B. So it's literally the tonic and dominant combined into one chord. And this is important because you'll see this is how Christ is personified, and that he is both man and God. That's where we see it in this chord. It's both tonic, it's both dominant. Christ is both man and God. The three is mediant, as is our third density. If you want to get into the little law of one area, I'm not going to delve too deep into that right now. But it's the mediant because it's kind of an axis of positive and negative polarity in a diatonic key, where you determine whether it's positive or negative polarity. We could say major or minor polarity, tonality. It comes at the three. Do you have a minor third, the feminine third, or do you have the masculine major third? And the so-called Ionian key rings unanimously positive because the 1, 4, and 5, they all have major thirds. Most important chords in the key all have major thirds. Just screams out positive, masculine. Also take note that the 3 note is the 7th of the 4. In an F major 7, you have the E as the 7th. And the 3 is also the 5th of the 6th chord, 6th minor chord. So now we can speak about it, and it's the E note, the 3 note, in its subdominant context. It nears the octave of the 4 note, acting as pre-plagal in a sense when it's on top of the 4 chord. And when we see the 3 note in a 4 major 7 chord, this directly parallels the 7 chord that is the tonic. And this parallelism demonstrates the unity of being. It's another fractal thing. It's another kind of octave concept that you have a repeating. It's this kind of the same pattern, but it's higher order. And the E note on an F major 7 chord, for example, it bridges the 4 and the 6 chord into one entity virtually. And there is a tonal balance within that major 7th chord. Masculine and feminine tonalities are balanced, awaiting the octave and relative ease. But to drop the F and to focus on the remaining notes of the 6th minor chord, the 3 note is the stability of the 6th chord, and therefore it's the masculine authority within the feminine 6th chord. But so harmonically, what does the 3 mean? As a diatonic chord, it's the harmonic undercurrent of man. Yet melodically, the 3 is a halo of man's potential. And the function of the 3 chord has always been kind of mysterious. It's a chord often looked over in a lot of writing because, like I had said before, it is kind of like a ghost of the tonic, being its E, G, and B. That's like and the C underneath that would be like the 7th chord, but there's no root. The tonic 7, major 7 chord, but there's no root to it. It's like the ghost of the tonic. Like I said, it's half dominant too. Mysterious. Overall, the 3 as mediant is the mediant because Christ is the mediant. Christ is the mediant of being. Whether he's incarnate Christ in our world, whether he takes another name or be nameless, you will see the three is often the melodic axis of the tonality. Thank you. My name's Jackson. I'm going to be posting these when I feel like it. I hope you can get some value out of it. And thank you.